Hi everybody, welcome. It's Chris Petri. Thanks so much for coming by. Welcome to another exciting video here. We're going to do a beautiful Cotswold scene in the United Kingdom. This is a street scene, a beautiful home right on the street. Beautiful picket fence, ivy on the sides, on the front of the buildings, on the brickwork, some beautiful flower pots, hanging flower pots, some beautiful flowers along the fence. This is just a gorgeous scene to try. Give it a chance. Try this video out. We're going to do all kinds of interesting techniques here. We're going to do tons of splashing technique. We're going to do alla prima painting, where basically we're going to start with the darks in this painting, which makes it easier. So you'll have a simple approach to this painting. You do your darks first, then you do your lights later. So we'll explain all that in this video. You got to join along, have some fun here. We'll zoom into the painting. But basically, this is a fun painting to do. You can try this painting numerous times with different color schemes, different style plantings and flowers and colors. Just a fun painting overall to do. And I hope you'll enjoy this. And I'll zoom in just a little more here. You can work when you're painting from this portion right here. You can hit pause right now if you want to paint from this. And then, of course, you can hit pause once we're done with the pencil drawing just in a few minutes. So we'll get right into the pencil drawing next. This is the painting finished when we complete the painting 100%. So you can do this, you can work from this when you do your painting. You can watch the video full through, kind of see the flow of things, how everything goes, and I'll zoom in just a little more. All right, we just saw the finished painting, everyone, and now we're just looking at the cell phone here. I have my cell phone. I'll zoom out just a bit so you can kind of see. There we go. So I have an iPhone. I just searched online, found a really picture that I really liked of the Cotswolds in the United Kingdom, of a nice street scene. This is a nice Cotswold home, street scene type of look, really beautiful. Flowers along here on the fence, a nice picket fence, a gorgeous doorway here with a gable roof and some ivy. Has a nice flow to it, a nice look to it. The only thing I would say is if you want to work with photographs, if you don't know how to use your phone or your laptop with adjusting photos, you just would want to ask somebody like that you might know, a friend, a family member, a grandson, granddaughter, niece, nephew, anyone you know, friends. Chances are you'll have somebody that knows how to really do some adjustments to your photographs, crop down photos. You might take a larger photo and then make it smaller. That's what I did here. I made this smaller, and then I adjusted the light in this photograph on my cell phone. You could do this same idea on a laptop. So if you're not great with technology, and I'm not the greatest at technology either, with cell phones and all that, and laptops and iPads and the whole 9 yards, just ask somebody that knows, that's really good with it, with the technology and with phones and laptops and all that good stuff. Just ask them, how do you adjust a picture and how do you crop a picture? So that's all you really want to really know is how to crop a picture first, make it smaller so you can zoom in on a certain section of your photo that you'd like to paint. And as well, you just might want to ask, how do I make the picture a little brighter or a little darker? It depends. You want to go in there and adjust it and see how it looks. But this I made brighter. You can kind of see there's a lot of white, bright areas in this. And I did that by adjusting the picture in the photo section of my software on my cell phone. So if you're not quite sure how to do these types of things, someone will show it to you. It's no problem. You just ask them. They'll run it by you a few times, and then you'll have it, and you'll understand it and be able to do it in the future. And then if you need to, you can always get you can always brush up on it again with the same person that showed you the first time. But the main thing is, if you're working from photographs, it's really a great advantage if you can adjust it by cropping down your photos like this and adjusting the light. So you can see there's a lot of bright white here, and that's light. And I just adjusted my photograph in that program that I have on my iPhone. So that really makes a lot of sense to do it that way. And if you don't know how to do it, just ask somebody, no big deal. Or you can even go online and search it too. You can research how to adjust photographs on YouTube. So that being said, let's get right into it here. Let's start drawing our picture, our photograph that we're working from. I hope I didn't have too many details here, but I wanted to make that really clear. You know, if you need a little bit of, if you need to brush up a little bit on your skills with adjusting photographs, like cropping and also adding light or darks to your photograph, which you can do easily on the programs and software on your phone, that's a good thing to really research, because you can make a lot of cool enhancements to your photographs when you're working from photographs. So I'm hoping that's helpful to you. And okay, so here, enough talk. Let's get into the action. So I will remove some books here that I have on my table, my art table, and then I have papers and things. Let me put this across from me. I'm going to work from this, so I'm going to set this across from me. You can probably find that photograph really easy online if you just type in Cotswold's village, Cotswold's village scenes. You could find something very simple that's pretty much the same. And we're going to start out. We're going to use our mechanical pencil. We have everything laid out here. The paper is good. Today we're actually going to use some satin paper. This is Arches satin paper, so it's not rough. It's basically that smooth, beautiful, smooth finish. We're going to use that for right now. We're going to make this a painting where we're not going to suffer over details. We're going to kind of just have fun and create a quick painting, a quick composition, having fun, and not really sweating over all the details and taking a lot of time. Watercolor is a fast medium. If you can work fast, you're going to, at least if you can learn how to paint fast, you'll have an advantage. You can always go back and paint slower if you want, but if you can learn to paint fast, you're going to be way ahead of the game when it comes to watercolors, because watercolors is, the watercolor medium is, it dries fast, and you can really benefit by painting quickly. So let's do that. Let's draw first. We have our paper, satin paper, Arches satin, finished paper. Okay, I'm going to just, we don't have to use all the paper here. Let me just take a quick look here and let's see. All right, so let's, okay, I'm going to take this portion here and let's make this. Again, we always do our same routine. I will find my magic marker, my black magic marker, Sharpie pen. We're going to want to make some hash marks on our paper. So here, about a quarter of the way up. So if we have a quarter, a half, and a 3/4, let's do a quarter of the way up, and we'll say fence. 3/4 of the way up, roof, point of the roof, roof point, however you want to notate it, fine. Halfway, that's not really, basically, if we can get the quarter, 1/4 of the paper up, fence, top, half, 3/4 of the way up, roof point of roof, and that's all we really need. Other than that, everything else is going to really just work fine. This is a simple drawing, not a lot. So let's go here. We're going to go across. Lots of, so I'm just going to put in some, I'm going to turn down the lights a little bit here so we could see the pencil marks. I think I'm going to use a darker pencil here. Let's see if I can find even a darker pencil yet. Okay. Better. Okay. So now we're doing our bushes. Then once we have our bushes here, let's go in and we'll do our doorway. This is the door. There's some bushes, or there's some plants here, potted plants hanging. Okay. Just a little bit of the bottom of the sidewalk here. Okay. Now we said 3/4 was the peak of that roof. Might be a little bit higher, no big deal. There we go. Maybe we just lightly trace it like that. And if we lightly trace it, we get a better feel for how it's going to look. And now as I lightly trace that, I say, yeah, that looks good. That's a good. The angles look good on this. So that's fine. That's going to look okay. And then I just kind of go up. I'm contour drawing. And I'm going down this way here, another support beam coming out from the house to support that roof here. That looks good. Now that we have that, we're going to look up here and say, okay, more ivy and greenery here on the brick front of this house. And you can just enhance that any way you want. And we're just going to have fun with this. We're not going to, this is just a composition, a fun thing to do. We're not trying to do a finished painting, really. If it turns out to be really great, we can frame it. But we're just having fun. We're doing a composition here. So we have some more ivy and plants here. And then over here, there's a window. I might change and make this window an actual window. Here in the photograph, it looks a little bit like it's, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to try to make a window over here. So I'll make it 3 panes, the window, like that. Over here, no big deal. We're not going to worry about this. Okay, then up here we have a potted plant. And the same thing over here. We have a potted plant over here. They're both at the same level. So I'm going to make sure I make a level mark here and say, okay, the first potted plant I drew was here where the fastener is up here on the boards of this roof. The fastener is here where they hang this potted plant. Let me go over, make a level mark and say, okay, that's level. That wouldn't be level. This is level, right? So we get a level mark and we say, okay, here, that's where the other potted plant's going to be. Just like that, simple as that. And then you just I'm just very, carefree, making some flower type shapes like that. We're going to splash and have a good time with our potted plants here. Maybe we'll make one a little bit lower, more hanging lower, and then this one we're going to make a little bit just higher up. So we have a little bit of that. We don't want to have things too symmetrical. And then here we're going to do our gorgeous light. So the light is going to be here. So that's our light fixture over top. It's a little bit smaller in the photograph. I think I went a little bit larger, but that's not a big deal. You can make things larger or smaller as you would like. It's your painting. Okay. That makes sense, right? It's your painting. You can adjust things, make things different. It's up to you. As long as you have the basic idea of it, then that's the fine point to notice. Okay, now we have the door here. And on the door there might be a small door knocker here. And there's a handle over here. I don't know if we're going to see that too much. We're going to have the fence. Okay, so now we're pretty much all our ivies up here. We're going to splash and have a good time making our ivy and plants over here and on the wall over here. And then here, we're at the point of working in our fence. With our fence, we're just basically, let's do the vertical slats first. The pickets, the vertical pickets first. Let's do that. And we just go 1, 2. If you need a ruler here, use a ruler. Grab a ruler. If you have to measure it, that's fine. We can make them 1/2 inch apart. Half, 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 1/2 inch. If you use metric, you can do your centimeters and say 1.5 centimeters. You make them maybe 1.5 centimeters apart. And that's all. I'm just making the slats of the fence, the pickets. Okay, and then there's some more plantings here. And then I'm just going to make the bottom of the fence along the bottom of the painting, a light line just to indicate the bottom portion. And then I'm just going to do equal, I'm trying to space everything equal. That's fine. And then over here, okay, over here we have a really fun and interesting pot. This is like a pot, a planter. With some flowers here. So there's so I'm just adding some sketchy marks to let myself know I have to add in some flowers over here. And there's a little planter box here on the right that's hanging on the fence. There's shadows under there, so you can do a little bit of shadowing like that. You can add some shadows with your pencil, just to indicate where you're going to add some shadows when you're painting. It helps to kind of do it first, and then with your pencil marks, and then when you're going in and painting, you're going to see the pencil marks and go, oh, yeah, I got to do the shadows there. All right, so we're having a great time here. We're just sketching in our scene, and this is plenty of information to do with your pencil and sketching in this and contour drawing. So it's a combination of sketching and contour drawing. I'm not too really set on always doing exactly contour drawing 100%. I will do some sketching with contour drawing at the same time, so I use both techniques. So I would hope you will do the same thing. If you need to sketch sometimes, sketch some ideas. If you're comfortable going in and contour drawing the whole thing, fine, do it that way. And now I'm just doing more of somewhat of a contour drawing. I'm just sort of getting in my lines for my fence, the lateral or horizontal fence supports that tie all the pickets together and hold the pickets upright. And then this is the gate that's on this portion of the fence. And that just gives us a little extra white pickets to kind of enhance the idea that there's a gate here on the front of this doorway here. And I think that's good. We have plenty of sketching now, plenty of contour drawing. Next thing is we're just going to have some great fun painting, splashing on our paint, having a good time. All right, let's take a break. We've done a lot of drawing, a lot of sketching. The main thing is take some breaks once in a while. It helps to just refresh. And I also mentioned, too, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And also, if you're subscribing, right next to the subscribe button, there's a small little bell. If you click that bell, it'll actually notify you each time we're creating a new video here on my channel. So I want to make sure you're getting each video every week that we're creating new videos. This way you can check them out quick. If you like them, great. You're going to work along with us here. We're going to paint together. And then if not, no big deal. You can just move on to the next week when we do something else you might like more. Each week we're doing all different types of subject matter, but everything is always watercolor. So if watercolor is your medium, then you need to be here constantly checking in and learning new techniques, new ways of doing things, and you'll see that you'll learn a lot of great information here on my channel. I try to always explain everything in detail so that you have all the information you'll need to create beautiful paintings. All right, so we'll come right back in just a second. All right, we'll have some fun. We'll splash on the paint and have a good time. All right, we'll be right back. All right, thank you everyone for coming by. We're back and we're going to start painting. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to have some fresh water here. I got to empty my water bucket. Okay, I always keep fresh water in my water bucket, and that is very important. So again, we're working from a photograph on our cell phone here. That's the photograph I'm working from, and you can see there's really a very strong dark and light pattern here in this photograph, and that's, as a watercolor artist, if you can really squint your eyes and kind of look at that dark and light pattern in your photographs that you're working from, or if you're working outdoors or working from other artists. I work from photographs, I work from live studies, I work from a lot of watercolor books that I have from various watercolor artists, contemporary artists, as well as the old masters going back, a lot of the Winslow Homer and Wyeth and all these great artists. There's so many great artists out there, watercolor artists. You can paint their paintings, look at their work, draw and paint from their work. And then you can work from contemporary artists here on YouTube. There's lots of great artists on YouTube. And so I'm hoping you're using all those resources to get yourself to the next level. So here you can see there's a very, if you're looking at this, you'll see there's a very strong pattern of darks and lights. I did adjust the photograph to make it lighter and darker. So I made it lighter so that these areas up here, over here, and on the fence, and over here, and on some of these flowers were much lighter and brighter. So I did that by just adjusting the settings on the photograph on my phone. If you don't know how to do that, please ask somebody that knows how to use cell phones really well. They'll show you how to do it real simple. It takes 5 minutes, not even. And so you'll see that that really benefits us as a watercolor artist. If you can see those real dark darks and those really bright lights, you just use that pattern in your painting as you go, and we'll do that right now. So what I'll do is I mostly paint alla prima, which is all in one go. It's also called the direct approach, so either alla prima or direct approach. Basically, I go in, I get the darks in first, and I just continue throughout the painting to finish everything up, starting with darks and then working into the middle tones, and I leave the lights, whatever they may be. If I have to add in a little light bits of wash, that's fine. But that's pretty much my modus operandi as I go through my painting. So as I do my darks, that's going to set the pace for my painting, and then I work from there. So I'm going to set this across from me one more time. Okay, so that's setting across from me, straight across. And let's have a good time. Let's have fun here. Let's get with our burnt umber, burnt sienna. We're going to do burnt umber, burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue. We're going to make this door here. Now, when I look at my photograph, there's some flowers on these potted plants hanging, so I don't want to go and make the exact shape of a rectangle here or square. I want to leave it a little bit uneven there, haphazard like that, so that we have some bits of flower shapes. And again, I'm using really dark darks here, straight paint, no water really, just the dampness of the brush. So if I can just mention that, a large part of my technique is I'm using a lot of times just straight paint right from the wells here, from the pans. So I don't use dry paint. I use always wet, moist paint. I have many videos. You could type in Chris Petri palette, those 3 words, Chris Petri palette. You'll find tons of videos that I did, at least 10, on how I set up my palette and keep my paints moist. But this is the key to my technique, and you'll find that I use a lot of times just straight paint with a damp brush and not much water. And I'm just going to go around like that. Especially with these darks here, we don't want to add too much water, just very little water. Does that make sense? We want to keep this, and we also want to make sure that let's tap around and make different shapes and brush marks. So that's ideal to change directions with the brush versus just doing this all the time. Let's change brush strokes like this. It gives your actual texture to your watercolor. It looks more interesting. Does that make sense? I mean, you could do it any way you want. You're the artist. You decide how you want your technique to look. I'm just explaining how I do it. So I like to change up the brush strokes like that. I'm always changing around little bit of splashing. Then we're going to go in. I dry the brush off on my tissue like that. And now we can zip in these darks here. And again, let's practice our brush strokes, practice our techniques with our brush a lot, because you're really going to have an advantage if you can zip through these sections quick. I'm going to go as fast as I can. Let's see how fast I can go. There we go. Look at that. Have fun with this. Don't suffer over it. And if they don't come out perfect, that's all right too. But try to get through things quick. Perfect. Look at that. A couple splashes. And then we'll come in later and do any little bit of, like, let's say, a little bit of tonal value or tone on the fence over here. But this is pretty bright. This is bright white light coming across the picture from the front like this. And this brush over, or this fence section over here is all bright light. So let's keep that like that. And if you have a little bit of smudges, or you can just, it's okay, no big deal. We'll add some green to that, olive green. A couple splashes. Look at that. You just fix things with splashes, actually. No big deal, because we're having fun here. Again, the light's coming from more or less the front of the picture, so like this. So, okay, let's keep working on our darks. We said we were going to work darks first, and then into the middle tones, and then the lightest lights last. Okay, so let's go here. Okay, so I'm doing that really dark shadow under the eaves, the rake edges of this gable roof here, and I'm using the same colors: burnt sienna, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue. We're doing darks first, again a la prima. So we can just go right on and continue with the darks. Okay. So we have the door. Windows over here. The window panes, darks. At the top of the window. Then maybe toward the bottom of the window I see a little bit of yellow ochre. And I'm looking at the colors on the photograph that I'm working from. That makes things easy if you just keep your eyes on the photographs that you're working from, or if you're doing this in plein air, and then we immediately start to tie that in with the green bushes here. These are very light, so I'm going to splash there. The bushes are very light on top, so there we go. Some very cadmium lemon yellow. So if you splash in and kind of just lightly work in some cadmium lemon yellow to the top of those bushes, you're going to have a really great effect. And then there's some white flowers and green So let's start working some greens here. Sap green, olive green, maybe some cerulean blue. And I'll just do a little bit of that. Lots of flowers, so I'm just going to do some tiny little bits of spots of color. Some splashes. A lot of splashing on this picture, this painting, because there's lots of flowers, lots of very fine shapes. So that's how we cover a lot of territory quickly. Some purple for the shadowing underneath. Okay, so some purple shadowing here and there. And this will look fine. And again, darks first. So we worked in some greens and cadmium lemon yellow for our bushes over here and flowers. Now let's see if we can, is there more darks we can, yes, there's more darks we can do. So we'll go over here. We'll try to keep our palette organized. Darks on one side, other colors on the other. Okay, so there's some darks in these potted plants. So let's get those in. Here and there. So just you tap in a little bit of darks where you see them. This side has more darks than this potted plant. I noticed that right away. I'm going to take some purple and then some of that dark. And we're going to make some shadow under here. And you can notice that it's not quite as dark as this. The shadow color is a little lighter. Then more water. So this here, more water. Burnt umber. Raw umber, so that's some raw umber there. Let's add some burnt sienna. And I'm constantly working from my picture, from my photograph. I'm looking the whole time at my photograph, making sure I'm sticking with that plan, that photograph. And if you have a photograph, that's your plan of what you're going to be doing for your whole painting. You're going to be looking at it for your colors. You're going to be looking at it for your darks and your lights. So really, it's kind of simple. When you work from a photograph, you're just going to try to stick to that basic idea of darks and lights, looking at your photograph, where your dark, the door is the darkest dark. There's some darks under here, under that roof. And then there's some darks here and there in the ivy along the front of this house here, this beautiful Cotswold house. And there's some darks underneath the plants here and some shadows. We'll get to those later, but now that we're getting our darks all completed, we're pretty much in good shape. And we should take a break. Burnt umber, maybe some alizarin crimson and burnt umber to give us that. It kind of looks like a kind of a mixture of that there. And I'm working around the light there. Okay, let's take a break. We've been working already 15, 20 minutes. We got a lot of dark. Our darks are in now. The door is the darkest dark, that entry door for that beautiful Cotswold home along our beautiful Cotswold street scene here in the United Kingdom. And we have some bushes here. We got those in, some lights, some medium tonal values, some really bright lights. We're going to create more details here as we go. But for the most part, we're starting to really see things come together here. We have the darkest darks first. That looks really good. We're gonna continue on our darkest darks up here in our ivy areas of the ivy along the beautiful brick front of this house. And once we get those darks in, then we'll start working in the medium tones, which are like the greens and the, it's kind of like a warm green, some sap green, olive green. We have yellow ochre, raw siennas, raw umbers. We're going to work in those nice warm greens along the front of the house here, this Cotswold house. And I think we'll be really good. Once we get some of those colors and tones in there, we'll be fine. All right, so let's come right back. Just a break we have to take here just to relax a little bit, and we'll come back and get started again. Okay, we're back in action here. We're actually going to do a quick little cleanup of our palette. Down here you can see I have a lot of different muddy looking colors down here. Mud is good. I like muddy colors sometimes, but right now we've done quite a bit of work, and let's try to maybe keep an eye on the muddy colors. Let me wash up my palette a little bit here. So I take some paper towels, I dip it in my water bucket, and I just clean up the palette a little bit like that. Okay, up here is fine. You can see we don't have anything really too muddy up there. Okay, now let's get back to, we want to get those darks. Let's get those darks in over here and on the right. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, maybe a little bit of cooler colors. Okay, now I'm just going to look up at the and so here's just a matter of putting in some spots of colors. I would just really keep this quick, fast, quick and fast. You're wanting to get some darks in there where we see them. Then maybe we splash in some darks too. So let's get some water. This is the time when you'll see me use a little more water now. Pretty much up to now, I've been using a lot of straight paint with not too much water. Just a damp brush and paint. So let's tie in the darks like this with some other splashes of darks. So now in essence we're going to tie in all these larger spots of darks with smaller splashes of darks. And then maybe we can add a few areas where we tie them in like that. And again, we're just having fun here. Just enjoy the process of the painting. Let's leave that like that. And then let's go in, sap green. Let's do some crimson, alizarin crimson over here. Like that. Plenty of sap green over here. Some yellow, cadmium lemon yellow mixed in there. And I'm going to do more splashing again. So if you haven't practiced splashing technique, definitely give it a try. Finger painting technique like this, tapping. This is really good too. Straight cadmium lemon yellow like that up here where the light is over here. So this is all light up here. Bright white paper. Let's leave that white paper. And we're just going to tap a little bit on there. We're going to practice our splashing on this video. Splashing technique like that. And our finger tapping. Finger painting. Finger tapping. We have so many leaves and things like that. Leaves and branches and ivy, and if we were to try to paint that, in detail, we would be here for years, actually, I would think. Maybe years, I don't know. But it wouldn't be fun. So let's not do that. Let's then take some straight paint. Here and there, some straight paint, sap green. Have some fun, sap green here. Have a couple little bits of sap green, straight sap green, no water. Tap around, make some leaf shapes. Okay, and then again, I'm leaving lots of white paper. We're going to get some more purple here for shadowy colors. We need some shadowy colors here. Let's do that. Now we're negative shape painting, which is painting around a subject to make the subject appear. So right now we're painting around the fence and the fence appears. Negative shape painting. Very powerful. Most all watercolor artists eventually learn this technique of negative shape painting because it's very powerful. Painting around the fence. Those are white picket fences. So if I paint around that white picket fence, than it appears. Now we can leave things like this. This looks good. You can leave pencil marks without painting in every little bit of detail. I always say, less is more. You'll always hear me say that. Less is more. When you're doing a painting like this, less is more. We're having a fun time. It's a composition. It's a practice run. You might want to do another painting like this, and you might learn from doing this painting. You might learn some new techniques you have, or learn how you approach this painting and say, you know what, the next one I'm going to do a little different, and then you'll change it around and you'll do something maybe a little different than what you did here on this painting that we're doing here, this composition, but at least you'll have practiced it, tried it, and then, you might say, I don't want to do as much painting. I want to do more white paper and less paint. Here I've done quite a bit of paint, but I have left quite a bit of white paper too. But you might want to even add more white paper. You don't want to, maybe you might not want to add as much paint as I've done here. So that's fine too. So you find your niche of what you like to see your painting looking like when you're finished with it. But here, now we're going to get into some flowers over here. So this is the fun part. We're going to add some real beautiful colors. Purples, there's some purples in here. And we'll do some chromium of oxide. It's kind of a dull green, but it looks pretty good actually. It enhances the transparent paint. If you add some chromium of oxide green, it actually enhances the look of transparency of the other paint. So you can do things to make your paintings look better. A lot of splashing. You can see I've used a ton of splashing technique here. Finger painting technique I've used quite a bit. And you can do as much painting or as little as you like. I don't know how you like doing this, but if anything, you're going to have a fun time splashing, and you're going to have a fun time finger painting, doing that finger painting technique. You're going to be using interesting colors here. Look at this. We have some gorgeous cerulean. Look at that. Ooh, that looks good. Cerulean blue. Maybe a little bit of purple under there. Then darker darks, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, some of those darker darks again. And maybe we'll just go with a little. Then we'll get some greens. We'll do some greens under there. A little bit of splashing. That's some of the leaves that grow out beyond the fence. All right, we've had a ton of fun here. I hope you enjoyed this painting. You can do more or less than what I've done here, but the main point is, again, we'll cover it quick one time. Darks first. So, we get in our drawing first, our pencil drawing first. Darks. Paint in those darks. The door is the darkest dark, large area of darks. You get that all in. And then you're painting around the fence. Negative shade painting. We're painting around a subject to make it appear. So we paint darks around the white fence, and the white fence appears. So we're negative shade painting around this fence. Darks for that door. We have plenty of interesting splashing technique here. You can see I'm continuing to splash. This may be more splashing than you like. If you don't like splashing, that's fine. You can paint it in. We can take a little bit of white paint, titanium white, add a little bit of yellow ochre to the titanium white, like that. A little bit of white, titanium white tube paint with a little bit of yellow ochre. And then what we can do is we can do a little bit of details here, like that. So we add that bit of we added the some highlights. If that's I added a little bit too much of the yellow ochre. In that case, I take my needlepoint brush here, great brush, and then we can do that. A little bit of blue. You can add a little bit of red. We have red flowers over here. So this is where you can add more colors. The flowers over here, red flowers in these potted plants. So I'm going to add those in. There's some, I added just a little bit of red in the door. Orange. There's some orange flowers here. Straight paint, no water. We use a needlepoint brush, straight paint, no water. We'll get some orange flowers in there. And now we're just adding more colors. We could add some red flowers over here. Maybe some purple. Some orange. Some cadmium lemon yellow. All right, I hope you've had fun. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're doing paintings like this every week. Every week we're doing new things. This happens to be a street scene where we're doing a beautiful Cotswold scene in the United Kingdom. Beautiful flowers and fences and door, the front door of a beautiful home here. Lots of colors. the greenery, brickwork. We're having tons of fun with this. We also do other paintings. We do boats and seascapes, landscapes. We do figure painting. So everything watercolor here on this channel. I hope you'll come back over and over again. If you hit the notification bell when you subscribe below, you'll be alerted each time we create a new video. And if you give me a thumbs up that you like this video, I'll do more like this. If you give me a thumbs down, then I know you might like some other paintings that I do more often. So thumbs up and thumbs down is always a great thing for my channel if you can do that. This way I kind of can see what you like more. I'll paint more of what everyone wants to see on my channel, but I tend to try to change things quite a bit as I go each week so that I give a little bit of variety for everyone that's a watercolor artist out there. You want to learn new techniques, you want to learn different types of subject matter. So I try to do all of those things for you, and I hope you'll enjoy this video. I hope you'll ask questions in the questions and the comment section. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I pretty much answer everyone's questions that comes into the comment section. So if you do have questions, please let me know. And I thank you so much, too, for all the great praises and, the thankfulness that everyone shows me all the time. I'm so, I appreciate that so much, that everyone supports me and does a lot for me to give me excitement and give me more energy to do my paintings every week and my videos every week. So you guys all, appreciate you very much, and thanks so much for all your great encouragement. I'll be back again, of course, in just a few days or so to create another painting for you, another video, and we'll all get excited. It's watercolors. We're learning new things all the time and getting better and better. All right, we'll see you on the next video.